Hi, this is Simon Dad here. I want to do a video today on the period of time after the end of the relationship with a narcissist. To some extent, right from the breakup, the first week, the first month, maybe the first year afterwards, and you know, share my journey along that and some of the things that I've learned that have helped me along, and hopefully that'll be something that might be helpful for some of you going through this. First, I'll start with my ex-wife, who I divorced just over about 4 years ago, and again, very interesting situation. But I know from reading the comments that some people have had this happen to them, where my wife was a normal person, went through a midlife crisis, and this new person that she became was a malignant narcissist. Soon after, all the toxic behaviors and traits start happening. The dynamics in the family, not only between me and her, but between her and the children, her and the family, etc., went really very negative very quickly. And I ended up getting pushed to the brink where I was forced to file for divorce, and went through that process. And it was curious to me, because I know that in speaking with friends of mine who themselves had gone through a peaceful marriage, and then something happened and the marriage ended in divorce, that for a lot of them it was very difficult to get over, very, very painful, and that pain lasted for years. And that wasn't my experience at all. And as I explained to some people that would try to console me after the divorce, I had to explain to them, it was like, the person that I met, the person I fell in love with, the person that I decided to share my life with, who I bought a ring for and proposed, who I walked down the aisle with, who married me in front of family and friends, that person does not exist anymore. And so it's not like I have this feeling of loss in that person is out there living their own life now, and there's this distance between us, and it's there's no sadness there, because literally the person that I married and spent the first 19 years with is gone. They do not exist. So I can certainly mourn the memory of that person, and what we had and stuff, but the person, that person I divorced, living her life, going to her job and having her friends, I don't know who the hell that is. that person is an I've met them, and they're awful, they're horrible. They look very similar to the person I married, but they're not the same at all. And so there's no feeling of loss in that respect. So and again, tying back to narcissism, and kind of how that impacts people with kind of the person you meet, the love bombing phase, the slow descent, the pullback, and then finally the end of the relationship, as the mask comes completely off. Again, I'm in a slightly similar situation now where, my relationship with my ex-girlfriend ended just about 2 months ago, to the day. And it initially was very difficult because I had not connected the dots on covert, her behavior matching what's commonly called covert narcissism. And so I was just confused. I was just, I was still in the narcissist fog. I couldn't tell what was up, what was down, what was left, what was right. Nothing made any sense. Her words didn't match her actions. The present didn't match the past. Just absolutely nothing made sense. And then slowly the fog dissipated, and I've been able to put the pieces, in of the puzzle together, connect the dots, and things are starting to fit. The picture's not pretty. It is really ugly. So like I've said in previous videos, I was in that for 4 years, and so where I'm at like today, like this moment, is that obviously there's still part of me that's very hurt by being manipulated, used, kind of having the relationship, almost in like a car crash. I mean, it was really bad. And part of me thinks back to the person I met, the person that I was learning about, as I went, now realized was going through the love bombing phase. But now that I've understood things and can put things in context as to, okay, this is why this happened at this point in the relationship, this is why this happened at this point in the relationship, and see the difference between the two. I now know that, like, okay, the mask was on when I met her, and if anything, she designed the mask to meet my needs, my desire. That is how devious narcissists are. And I've talked about that before with like the whole mirroring. It's like everyone talks about, okay, narcissists have that mask. Yeah, they do. And they will paint and form that mask to be the most beautiful person that their target could ever imagine. That's how devious they are. And so that mask was there at the beginning, and over the course of 4 years, it just slipped and slipped and slipped until by the end, it was just, I don't even know if it was hanging on by a thread. It was just off. It was, on the ground, and it was all real and all ugly. It was not a pretty sight to see who she was underneath the mask. And so, now 2 months later, part of me is like, okay, hey, you can't be too upset about things, because that person that you're mourning and missing, that person doesn't exist. That person was a lie. That person was a fabrication. That person that you're so sad about not being with, and upset that you're not gonna like see them and stuff, that person never existed. That was just the mask. And you have to remember, it's like, okay, the person who's like out there right now, that is the person that I saw at the end of the relationship with no mask. And like I said, it was not a pretty sight. It was it was bad. Not the type of person you would want to spend a lot of time around. And so it's kind of been honestly some work to remind myself and catch myself and just say, okay, look, don't get too upset about that, because that person that you're getting upset about not being with, they never existed. Along with that, what personally, I found to be helpful, after especially going through, this the first time with my ex-wife. And I'm sure, I mean, if this is, trite, just fast forward through the video, um, is, you know, easier said than done, at first. Look to the future. Try not to look at the past because, one, a lot of it's not going to make any sense because we don't think like narcissists and we don't have those values. So a lot of it's just going to be incoherent. And two, nothing good can really come of it. I know for myself that it's nice for me to like learn more about narcissism and, be able to put the pieces together and stuff. But that doesn't fix, it doesn't necessarily fix things. It just kind of gives me some context for things. At the end of the day, I still need to be in charge of myself. And I need to be thinking about, okay, what do I want to do today? And, who do I want to be in the future? How do I improve myself? What do I want out of life? What do I want to achieve, tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line? It's healthier to be focused, looking to the future, and to basically work. I mean, again, I know it's a cliche, but just to work on yourself and just being the best you that you can be. I'm not a big fan of a lot of, motivational, mottos and kind of processes and stuff like that. But one that's always resonated with me is not to be the best, the best writer, the best musician, the best photographer, the best football player, the best salesman. Just be the best you. That's all I try to do, is just to take those parts about me that I'm proud of and keep honing them, and those parts of me that need work, I try to work on them. So again, my advice would be to, if you're coming out of a bad narcissistic relationship and you're kind of, maybe still in the fog or coming out of the fog, just turn to the future, look in that direction, and keep going. The other is not to forget to feed your spirit. And what I mean by that is it's very, we're always bombarded with these messages of, go to the gym for 12 hours a day, be on go buy a mountain bike, eat nothing but protein and brown rice, eat this green goop that's $50, at Whole Foods or something. We're always bombarded with messages like that, or do Sudoku and learn a new word every day. And it's not like any of this stuff is bad, but just don't forget to feed your spirit. If you like ice cream, have ice cream every once in a while. Treat yourself. If you like my kind of one of the things that helps me is I like to go to used bookstores and just find books that are out of print. That gives me so much joy, and it's not something I'm ever going to hear on a commercial on TV or on YouTube or anything. Same thing if you like old movies, comedies or something like that, Abbott and Costello or something like that, Jerry Lewis movies, something like that. Just give yourself permission. Feed your spirit, and don't feel you need to be always on the treadmill and always eating nothing but protein and stuff like that. It's just it's good to better yourself physically. It's better to better yourself mentally, but don't forget to feed your spirit, especially now, if you've just come out of like a bad narcissistic relationship. Like I've said in previous videos, those are harder because you can have a bad relationship, it ends, you're like, that stunk, I wish things would have worked out, but oh well. You come out of a narcissist relationship and it ends, and you're like, what state am I in? What is my zip code? What year was I born in? I mean, which way's north? I mean, you were just so completely confused because you've been manipulated on purpose for the entirety of the relationship. And of course your mind is just reeling. And so, have some sympathy for yourself. Give yourself a break, and maybe give yourself a treat. If it helps, feed your spirit. The other thing, my advice would be to journal. I think that's something that more people know about, but at least for me, it's incredibly helpful because one, journaling helps me process my own thoughts. Sometimes my thoughts might just be this jumbled mess up in my head, and by having like a pencil and a piece of paper, writing them down forces me to articulate the feelings, articulate the thoughts, and put them on paper. And so for me, it in many ways, it's almost like the same as talking to a therapist. And that would be another piece of advice that I would give to people coming out of the situation is, if you can find a therapist. Please know, not all therapists are good therapists. There are some bad therapists out there. If you are in therapy and you find you've been going for a while and you're not feeling any better, that's a good time to just stop and think, what is going on? Because some therapists are notorious for what is called stirring the pot. It's like, where, okay, well, let's talk about your feelings for an hour, and we'll just stir and stir and stir. Oh, your time's up. Okay, see you next week. Yeah, that gets real expensive really fast, and you're making zero progress. So again, I can recommend therapy for me and many others. It's been life-changing, but I've had good therapists and I've had some really bad ones too. So you just need to be aware that they are not all the same. Additionally, friends, family, lean on them, especially times like this. You find out who your real friends are. You find out which friends say they'll always be there for you, and which friends are really always there for you. Same thing if you have good family, good relatives. Reach out to them. The only thing I would say is that, again, like if you're talking to a therapist, you can just emotionally vomit, until the hour's up. When you're talking with your friends and your family and stuff, I would be conscientious and just check in with them and say, look, can I monopolize your time for the next hour or 45 minutes or whatever? Can I just vent, emotionally vomit up all this stuff that I'm dealing with for the next half an hour? And check in with them and seriously, and then and even afterwards check in with them and be like, hey, are you are you still cool? Do we need to go, you know, go grab a couple of beers? Do we need to go, go play some mini golf to like kind of, free our minds and stuff? Because, that it's good to have friends and family that you can lean on that way, but be cognizant the way you would be where if you had friends and family leaning on you. I mean, I'm assuming that you're a good person and you have friends and family that if they came to you right after a narcissistic, relationship, crashed and burned and they were in a bad place, you would be there for them and you would listen to them and stuff. At the same time, you may also have family. You might have children, an elderly parent that you're taking care of or something like that. Like you may have your own stuff that you're taking care of. And so you might be able to carry a little bit of their weight for a while, but you're not, you don't have a free hand to carry all of their weight. And it goes in reverse too. So that's what I'm saying. It's just, if you're leaning on friends and family, that's awesome. Just, check in with them. Make sure that they have the availability and that they're able to kind of, carry some of that weight with you for a little bit. Yeah. I mean, other than that, just, again, it's such a cliche, but I would get, a piece of paper, pencil. I'm old fashioned. And I would make a list of all the things you wanted to do while you were in the relationship, but for various reasons you weren't able to. There might have been a place that you had dreamed about traveling to, and your ex-partner was like, nah, I don't like that. Or they just said, yeah, one day. Write that down. Write that down on your list. Same thing, like, I always wanted to, buy this one dress, or I always wanted to, like, go buy this, one suit or something like that. And your partner was like, no, you wouldn't you couldn't pull that off. Or, no, that's like a lot of money. That's more money than you should spend on that. Again, if there's something like that, write it down. That idea for the book that you wanted to write, but your partner wasn't being supportive, go write it. Write that book. Same thing. The band, the song that you wanted to write, the band you wanted to form, and your partner wasn't supportive, do it. And so my last piece before I in this particular video, so I try to be on the up and up on everything, be positive. But I'll tell you a dirty secret. I would never advise anyone to do anything for the purpose of hurting someone, including a narcissist, including the ex that you were in the bad relationship with. That said, I will tell you a little secret. Okay. Nothing is going to hurt the narcissist more than seeing you thrive. Nothing. And, you don't have to like flaunt that. And, in fact, I would never communicate that to them. If you accomplish, say you get that new job that you always talked about, but your ex wasn't supportive of, you get that new job, do not reach out to your ex and tell them. Do not send out hints or tell the mutual friends or something like that. Don't do that. Narcissists are notorious about hoovering. That's something that they do. We all know about that. So you can thrive, you can succeed. You don't even have to announce it, and they will find out. And it's going to bother them. So, okay, back from that. Now we're going to be all up and up, all positive, all positive. So, I hope this video has been helpful, and I'll continue to make them.